Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Hope you're all well. Welcome to Friday. This week's gone flying. Fridays is live album ranking day. So today we're looking at Steve Hackett, ex-Genesis, fabulous guitar player, awesome stuff. So he's released 13 live albums. No introduction to him really. So I've got every one bar one, and that's the one that's coming in at number 13, which is the Live Archives 1970s and 80s and 90s. Basically it's a collection of recordings from all those periods, and there's a total of 6 sets with about 5 or 6 CDs in each. It's a little bit too much for my collection. I've heard bits that I've found on YouTube and various other resources. Some of the recordings I heard were a little bit dodgy, but I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 purely because I like Steve Hackett and I think he's a great guitarist. Couldn't give him anything lower. Okay then, coming in number 12, we get to 1995 and to an album called There Are Many Sides to the Night. This is an acoustic live album that featured Steve Hackett and Julian Colbeck on keyboards. Opens up with Horizons, it's just from Supper's Ready, just before Supper's Ready. Black Light, Skyboat Song, love that little piece of music. I love Time Lapse in Milton Keynes. And it's got Beeger Floor on it, Kim, Second Chance, How I Love You, The Journey, Back Us, Walking from Rainbows, lovely piece of music. So is Cavanti. Then Andante in C, written by Mario Giuliano, of course, arranged beautifully by Steve. Some little Concerto in D is by Largo again. Arranged by Steve Hackett from Vivaldi. A Blue Part of the Town, written actually by the keyboard player Julian Colbeck and Mr. Hackett. Ace of Wands is a pretty cool piece of music. Cinema Paradiso is by Ennio Morricone, nice piece of music. And End of the Day, lovely little album, very chilled out. If you want something to chill to on a Sunday, that's the one you grab. Pretty good album, and I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Coming in at number 11 then, first of the real live rocky type albums, Time Lapse, released in 1992. The album is actually drawn from live performances at the Savoy Theatre in New York City during the Cured tour and the Central TV studios in Nottingham. It features Chaz Cronk of the Strawbs, and the New York features a drummer called Ian Mosley, who went on to, of course, went with Marillion. So this is some of the stuff he did before he joined Marillion. So the first 5 tracks recorded in 1990 at the Central TV studios, and the 6 to 12 were recorded at the Savoy in New York in 1981. Steve Hackett and John Hackett being Steve's younger brother, play on both. You've got Steve obviously on the guitar and vocals, and John plays flute, guitar and bass pedals even. Blah blah blah. At Nottingham we have Ian Ellis on the bass, Julian Colbeck on keyboards, Fudge Smith on the drums. And in New York City we have Chaz Cronk on the bass, Nick Magnus on keyboards, and Mr. Ian Mosley on the drum kit. Okay, opens up with Cameo Royal. I love that track. Great guitar work in that. Please Don't Touch is a good track. Every Day, fantastic track. Then we get a little bit of Genesis. We get In That Quiet Earth, that lovely instrumental. Depth Charge, Jacuzzi, The Haunting Steps, a great version of Ace of Wands, Hope I Don't Wake, really good again. The red flower of Taliki blooms everywhere. A tower struck down. I love that piece. The fantastic Spectral Mornings, great version live. And Clocks, great album. Got some tracks that you don't normally hear, and you can tell it's, you know, the different times it was recorded, but it's still a brilliant album. And I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.1. Okay, coming in at number 10 then, we have an album called Live Rails. I can't remember when this one come out. I haven't put it down like a Wally. It was one of the albums that he recorded on the Out of the Tunnel tour. It's got some stuff from all over his career at the time, and on here we have got on guitars and vocals Steve Hackett, vocals Amanda Lemon, basses Nick Beggs, Roger King, who has been with Steve for years on the keyboards, Rob Townsend again featured a lot, and the brilliant percussion and vocals of Gary O'Toole, great drummer. We get this little intro, we get Every Day, of course, great track, Far on the Moon, Emerald and Ash, Ghost in the Glass, Ace of Wands, I just love it on here, Pollution Sea, The Steps, again daunting, Slogan, Serpentine and Tubehead. And the second disc opens up with Spectral Mornings, great track, I love that track. Then we get the Firth of Fifth in full, including the piano bit at the beginning that Genesis never play. A beautiful version of Blood on the Rooftops. Gary O'Toole sings that, that is brilliant. Fly on the Windshield, the Broadway melody of 74, Sleepers, Still Waters, a jazzed up version of Los Endos, and Clocks. Again, great little album. I enjoy all these live albums. You know, I'll put them on because they've got different songs on, and always good playing. And I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, coming in at number 9, we have Hungarian Horizons live in Budapest 2003. Again, this is a classical album. It features Steve Hackett on the guitar, John Hackett on the flute, and Roger King on the keyboards. Got Horizons again, Gonossi number 1, Bury, which is a brilliant version, a little bit of Firth of Fifth, which is it's quite nice. It's the bit with the flute. Bay of Kings is a fabulous track. Syrinx is good. Imagining's pretty good. Second Chances again a good track. Jacuzzi's on here again. Overnight Sleeper, lovely little piece of music that is. And the Barren Land and Black Light and Kim again. The brilliant time lapse at Milton Keynes here. The Chinese Jam, pretty cool. Concerto in D's there. Hairless Heart, Cinema Paradiso, Mustard Seed, Jim Pady number 1, and then Jazz, brilliant on that bit. And then little bit more, we have Little Cloud, Clavanti, Walking Away from Rainbows, Ande in C, Concerto for Munich, The Journey, the Skyboat song, brilliant. Pave Fountain, Etude in A minor, a little bit of Blood on the Rooftops, Hand of the Pretest, C minor triplets, End of the Day, Ace of Wands, Idle, Abaddon Meditation. Again, a very, very good classical album. A little bit better than the other one. The production on this is far better, and having the piano and the flute adds a little bit more depth to it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 8 is an album called the Tokyo Tapes, released in 1998. It's 2 concerts of a supergroup lineup. We've got Hackett, John Wetton, Chester Thompson, Ian MacDonald and Julian Colbeck. What a lineup for a band. You know, you got a Genesis drummer, which is brilliant. Chester Thompson's a great drummer. So the album opens up with Watcher of the Skies. Great version. Riding the Colossus, another great, brilliant guitar solo by Steve Hackett on that one. Firth the Fifth, a song that's sung by John Wetton, and he sings it brilliant. Battle Lines, it's a song that John Wetton did, solo from his solo album, which we've covered. Cameo Royal, absolutely brilliant version of this. Then we get the Court of the Kings and King, even brilliant, awesome stuff. Horizons, that little bit before Supper's Ready Again, love that little bit. Walking Away from Rainbows, pretty cool. And then we get Heat of the Moment, song from Asia, pretty cool. In That Quiet Earth, Vampire with a Healthy Appetite. Don't get many live versions of that, and I love that. Then we get I Talk to the Wind, another classic from King Crimson. The brilliant Shadow of the Hierophant, I love that track. Got Los Endos, that jazzy version. Black Light, The Steps, I Know What I Like, Firewall the Dealer, and Los Endos. Brilliant album. You know, it features stuff from all the people that who've played with their stuff. Enjoyable album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 7 from 2002, Somewhere in South America, recorded in Buenos Aires. My pronunciation this morning is absolutely atrocious. We've got Steve Hackett on the guitars, Roger King on the keyboards, Rob Townsend on saxophone, Terry Gregory on the bass, and Gary O'Toole on the drums. Opens up with the Floating Seventh, a little ditty, pretty good. The Mechanical Bride is an excellent. Then we get a medley, bits and bobs. Serpentine song, brilliant. A great version again of Watcher of the Skies. Hairless Hearts on this one. Firth the Fifth, great version again. Riding the Colossus, I love that track. Pollution, another good track. The Steps, always a favourite. Gossie Number 1, Walking Away from Rainbows. Sierra Cumada, lovely piece of music that is. The Wall of the Knives, that goes straight into the Vampire of a Healthy Appetite, great stuff. A Tower Struck Down's pretty good. Ludicrous, little bit, and then Dark Town, great track. I love that track, and it's even better live. Cameo Royal, always a good track. In Memoriam, Horizons, and Los Endos, again a really good album. Mixture of everything as usual, so I'll give that one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay then, we're now going into the area where he did a lot of the Genesis Revisited. All these albums are fantastic. So the first one we're going to look at is Genesis Revisited live at Hammersmith. A show performed on 2013. On here we've got Steve Hackett on guitars and vocals, Roger King, Nad Sylvian, brilliant vocalist, sings Phil songs and Peter songs brilliantly. Gary O'Toole as ever, Lee Pomeroy, who's been around with him a little while now, and Rob Townsend. We got some guests on here. We have Jacko Jancic, Nick Kershaw sings one of the songs, Amanda Lehman, Mr. Steve Rothery, and John Wetton. Opens up with the Watcher of the Skies. Oh, what a version. That goes straight into the Chamber of the 32 Doors. Great track. Dancing with the Moonlit Night, fabulous. Fly on a Windshield, Gary O'Toole, brilliant. Broadway Melody of 74, The Lamia, sung by Nick Kershaw. Pretty cool. I think Steve Rothery plays guitar on that. Then we get the musical box. Stunning performance of that track. Shadow of the Hierophant. Just a classic. The Beautiful Blood on the Rooftops. Again, a stunning vocal from Gary O'Toole. Then we have the Unquiet Slumbers of the Sleepers in That Quiet Earth. Brilliant. Afterglow. Brilliant on here. I Know What I Like. Fabulous. Dance on a Volcano. Nad Sylvian, brilliant. Then we get Entangled. I love that track. The 11th Earl of Mar. And then a stunning rendition of Supper's Ready. Just fantastic stuff. Then we get the Firth of Fifth. John Wetton sings on that. Los Endos ends the show. Fabulous album. Fabulous tracks from Genesis. People go, oh, he's living on the past, but Genesis don't do this. Genesis doesn't really exist now, does it? And when they do, they never play anything like this. And this, Steve Hackett is keeping the old fans happy, including me. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.2. Okay, coming in at number 5, we have another Genesis revisited live at the Royal Albert Hall. Recording again from 2013. So we've got Steve Hackett, Roger King, Nad Sylvan, Gary O'Toole, Lee Pomeroy, Rob Townsend. We've got Amanda Lehman, John Wetton and Ray Wilson and Ronnie Stolt. This one opens up with the Dance with the Volcano. Goes into Dancing with the Moonlit Night. One of my favourite tracks off Still in England. Fly on the Windshield. Broadway Melody, Carpet Crawlers sung by Ray Wilson, fabulous version. Then we get Ronnie Stolt coming out to help with the return of the giant Hodgeweed. Not many times you hear that live, it's still brilliant. The musical box, still as great as ever. Horizons and Quiet Slumbers of the Sleepers, In That Quiet Earth, a wonderful version of Afterglow, I Know What I Like. Firth the Fifth, Ripples, which was sung by Amanda Lehman, fantastic version. The brilliant The Fountain of Samolsis. And then if you think that's the end, we've got Supper's Ready, Watch of the Sky and Los Endos to end the show. Absolutely stunning album. A little bit better than the Hammersmith. I think the set's a little bit better, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. Okay, coming in at number 4, another Genesis revisited. This is the Band and Orchestra live from the Royal Festival Hall 2019. Got that usual stalwart of Steve Hackett, Roger King, Gary O'Toole and Rob Townsend. We've got a guest bass player here. We've got Jonas Reingold from the Flower Kings and the ever brilliant Nad Sylvan. Also we've got John Hackett on the flute. Amanda Lehman plays guitar and vocals, and the Heart of England Orchestra. So you've got all these are all the Genesis songs and a few Hackett solo done with the orchestra. Dance on a Volcano, Out of the Body, The Steps, The Fifth of Firth, wonderful version. Dancing with the Moonlit Night, Blood on the Rooftops, and a fab version of Shadow of the Hierophant. In That Quiet Earth, Afterglow, Serpentine, El Nino, great version of El Nino. Then we get a brilliant version of Supper's Ready. Just absolutely bang on. And then I think that is the way it ends. Brilliant stuff. Now I've got to give this a 9.3 as well, because there's not much difference between them and they're just fine albums. Okay, coming in at number 3 then, We have Wuthering Nights live in Birmingham 2018. Got obviously Steve Hackett's on here, of course, doing the guitars and vocals. Nick Beggs is on the bass. Gary O'Toole's on here. John Hackett's with us. Amanda Lehman is. Keyboards Roger King and Rob Townsend and the brilliant Nad Sylvan. This is again a mixture of Hackett songs and the lot of Wind and Wuthering. One of my favourite albums. So we've got Everyday, great track. El Nino, the brilliant Steps. In the Skeleton Gallery, now it's an album that he done with John Hackett, a track from that. We are going to be featuring it. It's a one album they did and it's an absolutely brilliant album. Behind the Smoke, great. Serpentine song. Rise Again, another outstanding version of The Shadow of the Hierophant. Then we go into the Wind and Wuthering stuff. We've got 11th Earl of Mar, a brilliant version of One for the Vine. Blood on the Rooftops remains one of my favourite songs off that album. In That Quiet Earth and Afterglow, that's fantastic style tracks. Dance on a Volcano, Inside and Out, don't get that very often, great track. Firth the Fifth, Musical Box and Los Endos, great album again. I love all these live albums from Steve Hackett. It's just such a joy to hear these classic Genesis songs, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.4. Okay then, coming in at number 2, this is called The Total Experience, live in Liverpool from 2016. We got Steve Hackett, Roger King, Nad Sylvan, Gary O'Toole, Rob Townsend and Ronnie Stolt. This is a pretty cool album. It plays a lot of stuff from both camps, Hackett and Genesis. We've got Sorpican Fire intro, the Spectral Mornings, Out of Body, the brilliant Wolf Fight, Everyday, Love Song to a Vampire, The Wheels Turning, another great song. Loving Sea, a great version of Jacuzzi on this. Icarus Ascending, another great track. Stars of Sirius, fantastic. Probably the best version of Ace of Wands I've got. A Tower Struck Down. Then on we get Shadow of the Hierophant, a great version, probably the best version of this song. It's just absolutely amazing. Then we get 'Em Out by Friday, great song, great version. And then the Can Utility and the Coastliners, I never heard a version of that done by Genesis live, but that is a fantastic. After All, The Ordeal, Cinema Show, brilliant version. Isle of Plenty, a track again you don't get to hear very often live. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, absolutely brilliant version. The Musical Box, Clocks and the Firth of Fifth, solid album, gives you a bit of everything. Great versions of these songs on this. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.5. So my number 1 album is an album that came out a couple of years ago, Selling England by the Pound and Spectral Mornings live. My favourite Genesis album and my second favourite Steve Hackett album live. What more can you ask for? So we've got Steve Hackett on the guitars, bass is Jonas Reinhold, different drummer this time, Craig Blundell. Special guest was Amanda Lehman and John Hackett. Roger King on the keyboards, Rob Townsend on the saxophone, the wood and percussion, keyboards and bass. Very multi-talented musician, and of course Nad Sylvan doing the vocals. Opens up with Everyday, lovely track. Under the Eye of the Sun, Fallen Walls and Pedestals, these are all solid tracks and great tracks. Beast of Our Time, The Virgin in the Gypsy, Tiger Moth, Spectral Mornings, The Flower of Tai Chai Everywhere, Clocks, Angel of Mons, brilliant. Then we go into Selling England by the Pound, Dancing with the Moonlight Night, fab track anyway. I Know What I Like, pretty cool version. Firth the Fifth, More Fool Me, brilliant. A fantastic version than a Battle of Epping Forest. I think this is probably the better version than what Genesis did. I'm sorry to say that, but this live version is awesome. It's dramatic. After the Ordeal, the cinema show Isle of Plenty. Then we get Deja Vu, Dance on a Volcano, and Los Endos. Truly some of the greatest live versions of these songs. You know, if I'm saying that about Genesis, my favourite Genesis album, and these songs done by Steve Hackett and this band are just unbelievable. So I can only give it one ranking, 10 out of 10 every day. Absolutely stonking album. I played this one a lot, especially the live version of Spectral Mornings. Absolutely terrific. Okay then, got one more show for the week. It's a one-off hit wonder album, which is the only album they've put out. It's an album called ESC, or Escape on those who are technical, and it's by Zyla. Now if you don't know who Zyla are, it is Finn Zyla of Beyond Twilight and Twilight. So we'll be back for that, so I will see you for that. Take care for now.